Here's a chapter-by-chapter summary of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, with a deeper focus on themes. Chapters 1 to 2. The spark of curiosity. Victor Frankenstein grows up in Geneva, surrounded by his loving family, including Elizabeth, who's adopted into the family. His childhood seems ideal, but Victor is restless. He becomes obsessed with alchemy and the mysteries of life, rejecting traditional education for more mystical pursuits. This sets the stage for his desire to play God. Key themes: ambition, science versus nature. Victor's intense ambition foreshadows his eventual downfall. The theme of humans versus nature begins to emerge as Victor seeks forbidden knowledge. Curiosity killed the cat. Mad science begins. Chapters 3 to 4. The descent into obsession at university. Victor becomes deeply engrossed in scientific study. His passion escalates as he starts working day and night, trying to unlock the secret to creating life. He digs up graves for body parts, totally isolating himself from friends and family. Finally, he achieves what he's been obsessing over, the spark of life. Key themes: isolation, knowledge, and responsibility. Victor's relentless pursuit of knowledge isolates him physically and emotionally. The question of whether man should have the power to create life arises. Science gone wrong. Too much power. Chapter 5. Horror at creation. The iconic moment. Victor brings his creature to life. But it's a disaster. Instead of marveling at his creation, he's horrified by its grotesque appearance. He immediately regrets his actions and abandons the creature. Victor falls ill from stress, as his guilt and fear take over. Key themes: creation and abandonment. Regret. Victor's rejection of his own creation speaks to the idea of responsibility toward what we bring into the world. His abandonment of the creature is the catalyst for the tragedy that follows. Regret. Creation regret. Monsters among us. Chapters 6 to 7. The cost of guilt. Victor tries to move on, but his past haunts him. He gets a letter from home. His brother William has been murdered. When Victor returns to Geneva, he sees the creature lurking nearby and realizes his creation is responsible. But instead of confronting the creature, Victor stays silent, allowing Justine, an innocent family friend, to be convicted of the crime. She is executed. Key themes: guilt, injustice. Victor's silence allows an innocent person to die. The theme of justice becomes central, as Victor's failure to take responsibility leads to tragedy for others. Guilt trip. Innocent blood. Silent witness. Chapters 8 to 10. The creature's story. Devastated by Justine's death, Victor retreats into nature to clear his mind. In the mountains, he encounters the creature, who demands to tell his side of the story. The creature describes how he learned to speak and read by observing a family, but every time he reveals himself, he's met with fear and violence. All the creature wants is companionship and understanding. Key themes: prejudice, compassion, loneliness. The creature represents the outsider, rejected by society for his appearance. His desire for acceptance is heartbreakingly unmet, turning him from a sympathetic figure into a force for revenge. Lonely monster. Rejected by society. Outsider. Chapters 11 to 12. The creature's loneliness. The creature becomes attached to a family he spies on from a distance. He learns about love, kindness, and communication, but when he attempts to interact with them, they recoil in fear. The creature's heartbreak intensifies as he realizes that, no matter how kind his intentions, he will never be accepted because of his appearance. Key themes: loneliness, the human condition. This chapter highlights the creature's yearning for human connection, a reflection on how society treats those who are different. Heartbreak. No companions. Seeking acceptance. Chapters 13 to 14. Revenge takes root. Rejected by the family and the world, the creature's hope turns to rage. He realizes that Victor, his creator, is to blame for his suffering. The creature confronts Victor and demands a female companion so he won't have to live in isolation forever. He promises to leave humanity alone if his wish is granted. Key themes: revenge, responsibility. The theme of revenge comes full circle. The creature's desire for a companion raises questions about Victor's responsibility as a creator and his moral obligations. Revenge plan. Lone creature. Creating another monster. Chapters 15 to 17. The destroyed bride. Victor reluctantly agrees to create a female creature but is haunted by the thought of unleashing another potential monster. In a moment of panic, Victor destroys the female creature before she's completed. The original creature watches in horror and fury, vowing to ruin Victor's life as revenge. He tells Victor, "I will be with you on your wedding night." Key themes: consequences, fear of power. Victor's fear of his own power leads to devastating consequences. The creature's thirst for revenge intensifies, highlighting the destructiveness of unchecked power. Bride of Frankenstein. Crushed hopes. Fear of consequences. Chapters 18 to 19. Wedding night dread. Victor tries to return to normal life and prepares to marry Elizabeth. But he can't shake the creature's ominous threat. He's consumed by anxiety, expecting the creature to kill him on his wedding night. Despite the fear, he moves forward with the wedding. Key themes: fate versus free will. Fear. The concept of fate plays a key role here. Victor knows disaster is coming but feels powerless to stop it. His inability to take action reflects the larger theme of inevitable destruction. Wedding night doom. Fear and fate. Countdown to tragedy. Chapters 20 to 21. Clerval's death. Victor's best friend, Henry Clerval, becomes the creature's next victim. The weight of this murder pushes Victor further into despair. He's arrested for Henry's death but later released. Victor is consumed by guilt and realizes the creature is coming for everyone he loves. Key themes: destruction, guilt. The creature's revenge escalates, symbolizing the destruction caused by Victor's initial creation. Guilt consumes Victor as those around him suffer for his actions. Guilt deepens. Revenge takes hold. No escape. Chapters 22 to 23. The wedding night horror. Victor marries Elizabeth, but as promised, the creature strikes on their wedding night by killing Elizabeth. Victor's worst nightmare comes true. Now, he's left with nothing, driven by rage and sorrow, and vows to destroy the creature once and for all. Key themes: revenge, loss. The theme of loss is amplified here as the consequences of Victor's actions leave him completely isolated. The creature's revenge is complete, but both creator and creation are left devastated. Hashtag wedding tragedy, hashtag final blow, hashtag complete devastation. Chapter 24, the final pursuit. Victor chases the creature across icy terrains, determined to end their rivalry. Both are relentless. Victor eventually collapses and tells his story to Captain Walton, who's been narrating this tale. The creature visits Victor's dead body one last time, expressing regret for his actions, and then disappears into the Arctic wilderness, presumably to die. Key themes: regret, the cycle of revenge. Both Victor and the creature are left with nothing but regret. Their obsessive pursuit of power and revenge destroys them, leaving only a tragic legacy. Hashtag cycle of revenge, hashtag final farewell, hashtag tragic end. The end. Victor Frankenstein's ambition and disregard for responsibility lead to the destruction of everyone he loves, while the creature's desire for companionship turns into a thirst for revenge. Both creator and creation are trapped in a cycle of loss and regret. Hashtag tragic ending, hashtag Frankenstein legacy, hashtag what have we learned. This extended summary dives into both the plot and deeper themes, perfect for highlighting the emotional intensity of Frankenstein.